Firstly, welcome Nato to India and then Goa Guardians. How does it feel?
It's been good. Everyone's been super welcoming. I've only been here for 10, 11 days now, and I already feel like a close member of the team. Coaching staff and everyone else included, especially the teammates, like I said, have been very welcoming.
How have you been enjoying this place?
It's been beautiful in Goa. Loving my time here. The community and everyone that surrounds us has been super supportive and super welcoming, similar to the team. I'm also very excited to go to Hyderabad the following month.
How similar it is to Long Beach for you?
Very different to Long Beach. I'd probably equivalent Goa closer to maybe like a Hawaii, which I've spent a fair amount of time in being the Big West Conference out throughout college. Definitely a lot warmer than anything I've been used to for a long period of time, but I feel like my body's starting to adjust.
Like you mentioned about Hawaii, have you been able to adjust from there to a place like India?
I'd say first off, it's definitely a little more difficult not being as close to my family and my friends I've grown up with. This is the first real trip I've taken solo outside of the country for an extended period of time. As well as the food's been a big change, don't get me wrong. Indian food's been delicious and fantastic all the way around, but definitely a sense of home when you're things like In-N-Out or Mexican food consistently being in Southern California. But food has been good, but definitely just missing that part of home.
Coming to the volleyball side of things, how did volleyball happen to you or come to you?
I started playing volleyball this summer prior to my 7th grade year. Kind of started out, just I'd try it out because my older brother is 3 years older than me. He was already playing in high school and my dad had played intermittently on the beach. And so it kind of started with, we just tied a rope between a basketball hoop and a tree in our front yard, and that was our net, and that was kind of where I learned to play.
From the younger days of you playing volleyball to now playing professionally, now traveling to other parts of the world, how was the experience so far?
It's been great. Like I said, continually, it's been a very welcoming presence. I'm definitely very excited to have my first season here in Goa and being able to represent a professional team, especially a newer team. I kind of feel like I get to put my face in my first season associated with the face of a new team. So it's nice to have complementary greenery to the idea of professional volleyball.
If I have to ask you what's the difference between volleyball in the US and over here, how do you see it as the difference?
The main difference I noticed off the bat was the schedule of training. I mean, here we're going twice a day for 2.5 hours, where back in the States we're maybe training once a day for 3 hours. It's also here, it's a lot more play forward. You kind of work out the kinks and bugs as you're playing, rather than in the States, it's a lot more positional training and technique work and really taking your time with it, where here it's kind of like you figure it out as you go, which I like because I like to play quite a bit, but it's also just a different training schedule that I'm typically used to.
Which position do you prefer to play in? You like attacking or defending? Which is the...
My time at university at Long Beach, I played every position but libero. My heart will probably always stay with setting, but I've really enjoyed my time as an opposite or universal attacker. Being able to be the guy that just gets to take all the big swings and get the big blocks during game definitely feeds the fire of the team and myself.
What kind of motivates you to keep pushing every single day, every single training session? What is it?
Originally, I'd say it probably started with the little brother mentality. Like I said, I have an older brother who'd played before me. He had gone to USC, and originally I was like, hey, maybe I could play at USC with my brother, and that was my driving factor through high school to try to get into USC. The way it ended up working out, obviously went to Long Beach State, loved my time there. And then from that point on, or not even from that point on, just really since I started playing, I fell in love with the game, and just I had a continuing desire to improve and to play. And once again, bringing in that little brother factor, I just always wanted to be better than my older brother.
Your role over here as in the team of Goa Guardians is as an universal. How important it's for you to complement each and every player of different skill sets to kind of take the team up?
I've come here with the goal of expanding my game and learning from others, but also sharing the knowledge that I've had being taught to me the last 5 years at university and everything prior to that. So I feel like it's a nice relationship we've developed amongst myself and the teammates. Just being able to take their ideology of being very physical and athletic, but also sharing my ideology with them of focusing a little bit more on the technique, exchanging thoughts and theories on how to play the game, and hopefully expanding our team effort as a whole.
You have already played more than 10, 12 days with the Indian boys. How have you found them in terms of the skill sets, as a human being? What do you say about them?
Yeah, no, playing in the Indian League with some Indian players has been very exciting. They're very powerful and physical players. From my experience, I'd say they're still relatively raw in the game. A huge amount of potential. However, the longevity of the sport has been fairly short so far. And so I think with that comes a lack of systematic technique being taught universally, which we have here in the States. I mean, I know guys that played at my university team that have been playing since they were 3 or 4 years old, and so a lot of the movements come as second nature. Once you kind of exchange ideologies like we talked about previous, figure out what works for each team in each country, I think India as a whole can excel.
In the league, obviously you and Jeff are from the US, will be taking part in the league. From Bengaluru Torpedoes, there are 2 more US players. Do you know them, or are you willing to go and face them and be like, okay, let's beat you guys or something?
Yeah, so I'd met Jeff once on the occasion prior to coming to India. I was in a beach tournament, and so I got to know him a little bit there once we knew we were both coming to Goa. The other Americans in the league, Matt West, he had coached me previous, as well as my brother, so I know him fairly well. And then 𝐒𝐲𝐿𝐴𝐴 Penrose, another great universal attacker. Funnily enough, his team he'll be playing for in the following season in Puerto Rico reached out to me and asked to play in term of him while he is here in India. I'd already signed with the Goa Guardians, which I'm happy about, but it was just a little bit of a funny overlap knowing that I'd be coming here and facing him when his team had asked me to fill in for him.
What's your goal with the Goa Guardians this season?
I mean, I think the obvious answer that every team wants is to win the championship. Coming into this season, my first year out, I really wanted to kind of figure out my personal game and expand on what I could be as an individual player rather than playing in the system like we do at university. It's very team-based, which I love, and I think we can bring a lot of that mentality to India. However, I understand that professional volleyball is a very individual side, especially as a foreigner, necessary to perform as an individual. So it's been a lot of exploration for myself, but also a lot of sharing of theories and mentalities between myself and the teammates.
Nato, you and Jeff are the 2 marquee players, like the foreign players for the squad. The youngsters in the team and even the Indian players, they'll obviously look up to you. So as sort of like a learning curve from you guys to understand about the game. Like you mentioned, the technique is quite different for Indian guys and you guys, how you have been taught and brought up. What role it plays in your mind as well, how important for you it is to teach them certain stuff into the game so that they also learn and help the team to win?
Well, that's been something I've been a little challenged by since I first gotten here. I mean, I don't necessarily feel like a quote-unquote senior player amongst the team. I've talked to a lot of the guys, and I'm right around their age, if not a little bit younger. But I understand that my experience as volleyball, for the most part, outdates a lot of them. So it's been a challenge for me personally trying to figure out how much do I learn and how much do I teach, because I never want to be the new guy telling everyone this is how you reinvent the wheel, essentially. But I also understand my training is a little bit different than what is experienced here. So I'm trying to find the fine balance between providing information, but also sitting back and taking in the information provided to me, because I never want to come off as too overbearing, but I still want to provide my knowledge.
You have experienced the younger kids attending our training sessions 1 or 2 times. The small kids who come to our training sessions to watch. How different it is from India to US, how the culture is.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I've noticed, like you said, from the younger audience we're bringing in as far as student and children, I find the people I've talked to here have been much more personal. They want to get to know me and kind of understand where I've been from. That may just be the foreign aspect. But also back home, it's much more like you want to be seen with the player. You don't necessarily want to know the player, which is fine. I understand that entirely. Growing up myself in the area, you always want to kind of meet the big player and just say that you have met them. Whereas here, I feel like the kids that I'm talking to really want to know who I am and my experience and kind of hear my story a little bit more rather than just taking a quick selfie.
Thank you, Nato. Wish you all the best for the season.